Real thoughts, real trades, real journey. A video journal documenting the lessons learned on my journey to becoming a disciplined trader. Welcome to Trading the Journey. I'm Neil, and today I want to share a trading day that taught me one important lesson. Let's see what the market had to teach me. Well, going into today, it was kind of an interesting day. My bias was bearish. It was following the daily pattern, in a much tighter time frame. Before when it was starting to go down before it ultimately was making new highs. I was expecting a bear day with a little bit of a bullish pullback. After the session opened, there was a bounce off support that made a lower high, and then it broke through. There was a double top that happened above the support, then broke back through, crashed further. It followed a trend line down until around 6:45 a.m. and then it dumped. And I was thinking we could be looking at a few more down days. Who knows how far it may go. I'd be cautious of a long at this point. The downtrend was happening since at least 7 a.m. and still I was pretty cautious. I missed a couple of trades right off the grip. The first was a power bar trade, which would have been right here just after just after 9:35. And it shot up to just over 1-1, so it would have been a free trade. I was actually looking for it to clear the major resistance I saw in the pre-market before going in. I saw some it was right around here. The resistance that was happening between 8:50 and 9:05 a.m. There was some resistance there, and it almost cleared it. That's what I was waiting for, and it didn't do it, and that's why I did not get in on that trade. Now there was a possibility of this continuation right here. I could have taken with a stop just under the bar of the entry bar. I didn't take that, but that was a continuation set up there, and it would have granted me a free trade. It shot up past 1-1, my 1-to-1, but I guess it was fear that didn't let me get in the trade. I don't know for sure. But the bear candle was kind of acting erratic at that point, and if I were in the trade, I would have been stopped out of break even, definitely. Whether it was a good or bad, I missed the trade, I don't know. But it also would have depended on where my stop would have been. It would have, if my stop was further down, of course, it would have never went to 1-to-1, and I would have lost a trade instead of where it was. I don't know. I mean, it could have went either way. There were no other setups that were forming. I saw a 3 inside down forming right here. It was around 9:45. That was definitely a reversal I could have taken. It would have granted. It would have been a 1-to-1 winner, because this would have gone past 1.5 times my risk reward. I hesitated. I didn't take it. I don't know why. I think I was watching I think I had another window open. I was trying to set my lines for a 30-minute orb. Had a property window open, and that's why I missed that particular trade. I just wasn't paying attention. But that would have turned out to have been a good trade had I been paying attention and took it. The reversal happened under a key level of resistance. It was about 40 points away from the pre-market high. Actually, no, it was about. No, actually, it's not pre-market high. It was a long way from pre-market high. Probably about 40 points from. Actually, I don't even remember now. I don't know. There was something that I saw. I had a major line drawn. I think it was a support line like right around here that I had drawn. I knew that there was a key level that I had drawn, and that's why I had that. There was almost a power bar to the downside. If it had cleared, I would have taken it. So I didn't take it. It was this swing low. It would have turned out to have been, if I had taken it, it would have been a loser there. But you don't know what's going to happen next. But I didn't take that trade because it didn't clear the swing low. I didn't take a fence trade that did set up, as there was this long wick right here. I didn't trust it. I wasn't really focused on it either at that time. The first trade that I did take, it didn't work out. I got in on this bear candle right here. It failed to break back inside the fence, which is why I took it. And the bulls had come in and had this nice little shoot up back outside the fence. So I didn't hesitate to go in, but it was also against my bias, which was bearish for the day. And so as you can see, this bear candle did take out the high of that candle, and then there was this bearish 3 inside down that happened. So I got stopped out of that trade. It was still going down. I did take a second trade. As soon as I saw this happen, I took that trade. I got right back in it. There was something that detached. As soon as I got stopped out of this trade, there was something that detached, and I started watching what these bars were doing. I don't know what it was. The second trade was 3 inside down. The third bear. It was actually a third bearish move that happened. The first one was at the high of the day. That was a 3 inside down, came down, and there was a bearish move that happened here, and then this was the third one. So I took that into consideration. I took that trade, got in right around here. My stop was at that swing high that happened, and so what happened? I mean, it rejected the 20 simple moving average, failed to break through the pre-market low quite a few times. The pre-market, it was a bunch of times that it failed to break through. The pre-market low was just like right around here. The 28,700 area was where the pre-market low was, and it kept touching, rejecting until almost 10:35 a.m. when it finally broke through the pre-market low. It held, and then the bulls came in, shot it back up, and then the bears started making headway back down. They reclaimed the pre-market low, and that's what sent the bears, is what sent it to the downside. It just tested 10 times, which is amazing. It was kind of a consolidation, but maybe a little bit of a downward consolidation, I guess you could say. After all that, who knows where it could have gone after that. But evidently it went to the downside. Very weak bull candles, just, they were coming in, trying to make some headway, and they just couldn't do it. When it closed below my 1-to-1, I moved my stop up to break even. I had an urge to move my stop up here when it formed that base, even though it wasn't at my 1-to-1 yet, or 1.5. I didn't, because the rules said I couldn't move it until it closed below my 1.5 risk reward. So I held back from moving it, and when it closed at my 1.5 risk reward, I moved it up just past 1-to-1. I mean, there was some really good price action that was happening there. It rejected a couple of times off the 9 simple moving average, which is the white line you see. But there was nothing that was taken out the low of the day until around 11:15 a.m. I kept thinking it was due to reverse soon, but I wanted to capture as much profits as I could. I was thinking about attaching the stop to, the slower moving average, which is the blue line, but I didn't. I held, moved up to 1.5, and then when it hit to that 2-to-1, I took my profits and ran. Somewhere in the beginning, I just became very detached to the trade. I don't know why. I just, no heart pounding, no thought. I was watching and didn't hesitate and took the trade. So with that, it was a good trade. One winner, one loser. And I took some pretty good profits. So we'll come back tomorrow. We'll see what the market has to offer. And as you can tell, there was some other place here. But as soon as I took my profits, I stopped because I didn't want to make any rash decisions. I didn't want to trade emotionally. I kind of felt emotional a little bit about it after the trade was done. So I just wanted to stop while it was ahead. And continue on my day because I had other things to do. Thank you for joining me for today's lesson. The market has voted. Today's lesson is written. I hope something from today's trade helps you on your own journey toward becoming a more disciplined trader. If today's trade reminded you of something you've experienced yourself, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed today's journal entry, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button on the video and subscribe to follow the journey. Until next time, real thoughts, real trades, real journey.